Now to the rain that just won't quit. We continue our coverage with Chief Meteorologist Paul Deanno. Paul?
It is crazy to think that this is a 5-hour look at weather history here, the past 5 hours, and the plume of tropical moisture has not moved. You just saw the live pictures from San Jose with Betty's live shot. It is pouring there. It's pouring in Oakland and San Francisco and Walnut Creek and Sacramento and Santa Rosa. It is pouring everywhere, has been pouring and will be pouring for the next 4 or 5 hours. More rain is falling in San Jose right now every 15 minutes than we typically saw for the entire month of January earlier this year. Sunnyvale, rain. Stanford, rain. Concord, Benicia, Hercules, Richmond, everybody with that yellow color, which is just that steady soaking rainfall. The city of San Francisco down the South City, San Bruno, San Mateo, it is coming down still tonight and will continue to at least until midnight. More than 2 inches of rainfall already for Mount Diablo, Oakland, San Francisco, San Bruno. In the Santa Cruz Mountains, more than 4 inches of rainfall, more than 3 for San Rafael, and coming up on half a foot of rain in both St. Helena and Santa Rosa. This is now, I've said this 3 times in 2 weeks, this is the wettest day of the year. We keep upping it. This is the wettest day of the year by far, and it will continue to rain for the next 6 hours. Haven't even talked about the wind yet. We had one of our windiest days in the past several years. I'll have that in about 10 minutes.
All right. Paul, thank you for that. One of the main routes into Muir Woods has been washed out. The southbound lanes of Highway 1 from Muir Beach to the park got swamped. We're checking to see how badly it is damaged. Apparently, it could be a while before it is fixed. Early estimates say not until March of next year.
We're seeing storm damage just about everywhere tonight. KPIX5's Dahlin shows us what happened to some drivers who thought they could make it through flooded streets in the East Bay.
A 1-2 punch in the East Bay. Heavy rain and gusty winds knocked out power, flooded streets, and blew down trees.
It's getting deeper.
The Hurley family hunkered down in their Richmond home, hoping to avoid all the mess. But the rain flooded their garage with about 4 inches of water.
We've all been wanting the rain, I guess maybe just not necessarily in this one big chunk.
The relentless rain damaged some homes, but flooded even more roadways. 3 drivers who ignored warnings drove into this large pool of standing water on Ashby Avenue in Berkeley. Water stalled their engines, trapping the cars in about 3 feet of water. All 3 drivers were rescued.
There's a lot of standing water on the freeways, and that's pretty dangerous. But I've been lucky to avoid most of it.
With the ground saturated, we found plenty of downed trees, including this one in Richmond. Some branches were hanging on a power line. In Pinole, this eucalyptus fell onto eastbound Interstate 80 this morning, forcing officers to shut down all eastbound lanes for a period of time. It was no fun being out in the elements, but driving in it was even worse. The wipers couldn't keep up with the rain, causing dangerous driving conditions.
Too much raining,
Too much raining, huh?
Too much raining, no sea in the road.
When you get the drivers on the other lane splashing towards you, I mean, you're blinded pretty much for like 2-3 seconds.
Caltrans hopes to reopen this part of Ashby Avenue in Berkeley sometime this evening. They're pumping out the water so they can remove the 3 cars that are stuck inside. 2 cars are submerged. You can barely see the roof of that 3rd car. In Berkeley, I'm Dahlin, KPIX5.
Drivers were faced with the full force of Mother Nature today. Just trying to get up this hill in Daly City was nearly impossible. Take a look at this. Rushing water so strong it pushed that van backwards. It barely avoided hitting that parked car.
A Santa Cruz student got trapped underneath a massive tree after it came crashing down on a school playground. Students were lined up for class when that tree toppled over. Firefighters rushed to free the 6th grader at Gateway School. Crews were able to cut away the branches, pull him out, and rush him to the hospital. He had no broken bones, luckily, just some bruises. The school says the trees are checked and trimmed each summer. KPIX5's Len Ramirez is checking other damage in the South Bay, including another huge tree that came crashing down. Lenny?
That's right. Trees all over the South Bay have been coming down today. You know, this is the most steady downpour that I can ever remember covering news here in the San Jose area. It's been going steady since about 9 o'clock this morning, but it was a combination of wind and rain that took down that massive tree in Santa Clara this morning. Now, that tree has been a neighborhood fixture. A gust of wind came down, the saturated ground. It toppled the tree. It It crushed an SUV and damaged a portion of a house. Now, that wasn't the only damage in the South Bay. Take a look at this. This is something you don't see all the time in storms in San Jose. A manhole cover actually being pushed up by all of the water. The water pressure from all of the storm systems started to backflow, and it caused a flood on Santa Clara Street, and they had to close Santa Clara Street near the SAP Center as a result. Now, all the water flows downhill to Alviso. Alviso actually sits below sea level, and the massive electric pumps that they've installed over the years to stop it from flooding just couldn't keep up with all of the downpour today, and so there was massive street flooding in Alviso today. The water keeps coming down. We're taking a look right now at the Guadalupe River, which has been rising all day, but the flood control measures that they've done here over the years are keeping the river in check. Reporting live in San Jose, Len Ramirez, KPIX 5.
PG&E reports it is making progress getting the power back on tonight. At the height of the storm, about 100,000 customers were in the dark. At last count, all but about 17,000 have had their power restored. More than 10,000 of those with no electricity are in San Francisco and on the peninsula. 2,500 in the North Bay, about 2,700 in the South Bay, and 1,000 East Bay customers are waiting for the power to come back on. Some San Francisco neighborhoods were in the dark for much of the morning. The traffic lights were out along Van Ness Avenue, forcing parking control officers into the street to keep traffic moving.
As you can imagine, hundreds of flights have been canceled out of SFO, many of them the short-haul flights up and down the West Coast. At last check, 245 flights have been canceled. Delays, they're starting at an hour or even longer. Now, things are not nearly as bad at Mineta San Jose International. Only 4 flights have been canceled there today. Smooth sailing at Oakland as well. The airport hasn't had any cancellations.
BART service is operating normally this evening after storm-related problems closed 2 stations this morning. Flooding forced BART to close the San Bruno station for about 2 hours. Water covered the station floor, sending work crews out with mops and buckets to clean up the mess. The water also flooded the tracks inside the station. A loss of electricity forced the Montgomery station in downtown San Francisco to close until early this afternoon. The power went out at 7:30 this morning and wasn't back on until just 1 this afternoon.
Well, many schools had to be closed today and for tomorrow. So far, only Novato schools have said that they will remain closed on Friday. We are continuing to check in with the other school districts tonight, and go to KPIX.com for the latest school closure updates throughout the night and in the morning. And our KPIX 5 morning team will be on